because your mind and your heart is essentially how you put the thought and the life into whatever it is that you're trying to call into your reality. So if you're doing these things unknowingly, what does that mean that you're doing? Hello, my name is Flo, and welcome back to another episode of Crown Talk TV, where you're chilling with me, where I just be talking because I'm always having something to say. I got a lot to say, so I'm gonna get it out of my mind into your dome, and hopefully you feel me in your heart. Anyways. Today we're gonna talk about. Till you take a guess on what we're gonna talk about. Fuck no, because you don't know what's in my brain. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about how you are manifesting every single day, but you're just doing that shit blindly. Yeah, you're casting spells on yourself every single day, all day long. And 9 times out of 10, you are very unaware that you're doing it. You want to know how I know that you're unaware of what you're doing? It's because you probably think that when you hear the word magic and manifestation, that you have to do some type of spell work or some type of candle ritual, yada, yada, yada. I mean, that helps enhance certain things. But most people are unaware that they are manifesting and casting spells on themselves, by themselves, every single day, all day long. Boom. I'm going to tell you how you are probably doing some of these things unknowingly, which is shaping the reality around you. And you're probably not liking what you're seeing because you are unaware that you're doing these things. Boom. So before we get into the whole idea, blah, blah, blah. Before we get into the whole idea of manifesting, blindly, we have to talk about how heartbreak or trauma is the biggest form of how you are allowing yourself to manifest things into your reality. Right? Right. Most people will hear heartbreak and tie that to their first heartbreak with a boyfriend or a girlfriend of some sort. Itchy. Whatever. But yeah, they're going to tie it to some type of heartbreak of some sort that has to do with some type of relationship of some sort. And 9 times out of 10, heartbreak starts at home. It starts as a child. It doesn't start when you get into adulthood. The thing is, when you become an adult or you're becoming a person that is of age to date or get into a relationship or whatever, you are going to attract a person that is going to trigger certain things in your nervous system that needs to be addressed and needs to be, noticed and brought to the forefront so that you are able to handle certain things and adjust certain things. But most people are not thinking like that. Why? Because we have never been taught how to properly use the emotional body. Boom. So things like stress, anxiety, depression, fucking what people like to call bipolar disorder and stuff. I'm not going to say those things don't exist. But those are just labels to make you feel condemned or make you feel lesser than, so that you're not knowing how to properly use your mental body and your emotional body. Okay? Stress doesn't start when you become an adult. Typically they say when you get of age or whatever, that's when stress levels, rise. Which therefore shows that stress had to be starting young and has been suppressed so long. So that's why terms like depression becomes a thing. And it's not depression, it's really suppression. Because if you're depressing something, that means you're undoing, like defrost and stuff like that. That means you're letting something go when you're decomposing, decompress and stuff like that. That means you're doing something to undo. Right? So therefore you're not depressed, you're suppressed. And the suppression and stress again comes from things that started off in the household. Everybody's experience is completely different but very similar because we all have the same emotions, we just do not feel them exactly the same. Right? So stress is a certain thing, like it causes a chemical imbalance into the brain, and it causes your nervous system to operate a certain way, based off of whatever it is that you had to suppress, or maybe things that you didn't know how to properly vocalize, or things that you couldn't vocalize because you always had to stay in the child's place, you know, stuff like that. Because adults tend to think that children don't have the right to feel, or have the right to feel anxious or depressed or stressed because, oh, you're a child. What the hell do you have to worry about? Well, motherfucker, maybe if I didn't hear you arguing or mom and dad doing whatever and this, that. Again, everybody has a different life. So certain things that most people tend to think that children are not paying attention to, mother effer they are. Because children are learning how to become a person or an adult based off of the things that's around them. Okay? So, yeah, we're going to talk about the nervous system a little bit. Because the nervous system essentially is one of the key components into manifesting things into your reality. Yeah, so with your nervous system, there's things that, you know, certain triggers that we have, you know, suppressed, essentially, or repressed, or whatever you want to call it, yada, yada, yada. So when our mind is trying to protect our heart, there's certain things that we kind of, we call them, what's the word, defense mechanisms. We create defense mechanisms that make sense to us so that we are protecting our heart from getting hurt. So therefore, when your mind has been already traumatized a certain way, you know, your mind is creating certain programs essentially to make you think a certain way and operate a certain way so that you are able to protect your heart from other people allowing it to be like getting, you know, played with, or whatever people like to say, or getting it hurt and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So with that being said, triggers are essentially used to send information to your brain. So when your emotions are being triggered a certain way, you are then sending your mental body information or codes essentially, or allowing yourself to receive certain thoughts that make sense to your triggers, right? So let's say, for example, what's a trigger for me? Stupidity. When people refuse to use their fucking brain, that sends me off to, I'm not going to say an overload, because I have gotten a lot better with controlling my temper when it comes to me and what I believe or deem to be dumb, because I get that everybody has different experiences. So a lot of people are not using their brain exactly like me. I get that. So for example, like if a person is asking me a certain question, and in my mind, I deem it as a dumb question because I can tell that they're not allowing themselves to process the information that they're asking, and they're expecting me to use my brain to think for them. It frustrates me, but then I have to, again, tell myself, well, maybe, you know, people really don't know because they never had an opportunity to even think about something like that. And then you're asking me, a person that's very perspective, and the only reason why I'm able to even think about certain things is because I once was or can be an overthinker, right? Boom, boom, boom. When triggers are being sent to you, or, you know, when you're being triggered, like I said, you are receiving information that is being transmitted through the nervous system, which is then going to trigger a certain thought or allow you to receive certain thoughts. And depending on how you allow yourself to react and or respond, or certain decisions or actions you allow yourself to take after certain triggers are received, you are either destroying, you are either destroying your reality or creating your reality. No matter how you say it, it's all creation, because destruction is the next form to creation. But regardless, when you are making certain decisions or taking certain actions that are going to cause it to be more destructive to you, you are therefore allowing yourself to timeline hop into a timeline where you are forced to pay attention to the consequences of your action and how you allowed yourself to respond to certain things that happen to you, which will therefore mean that you manifested a certain reality for yourself based on the decision you allowed yourself to make when certain things are presented to you, depending on how you are allowing yourself to be triggered. And not all triggers are bad. Some triggers are good. You know, we can have happy triggers, we can have exciting triggers, we can have angry triggers, we can have triggers for anything. Triggers doesn't necessarily mean that it always have to be bad, but when you are being triggered, it means that your nervous system is being activated to a certain degree because it's something that you have either suppressed or repressed into your mental, you know, your unconscious and conscious mind, which will be the next point. when your conscious and unconscious mind is being stimulated a certain way, you are going to either move a certain way, react a certain way, act a certain way, quite literally overall, which will then allow you to, again, take action in different forms. So therefore, you are manifesting your reality every time you are allowing yourself to think and feel and make a decision. Okay? So like I said, on to the next point. Your conscious and unconscious mind. It's the ego and the spirit, or aka the ego and the soul. Because the conscious mind is essentially the mind that they try to say is subconscious, which is really not subconscious, because it's not substituting anything. It's still fudging there. So your conscious mind is the mind that they try to purposely block out, because the conscious mind is essentially how you help certain things come into fruition or bring it into your reality, right? So with the unconscious mind, something's in my eye. Okay, so with the unconscious mind is essentially the mind that we are using every day when you tell yourself you have to wake up and go to work and brush your teeth and drive your car. That is the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is able to be programmed with certain information that we are feeding back to our conscious mind, is feeding back to us in our everyday realities. Does that make sense? Let me try to slow it down just a little bit, if that doesn't. Okay, so it's like the self-programming versus the societal programming. So your self-program, again, like I said, is when you are programming your mind to operate a certain way, you know, and not even, I'm not going to say operate a certain way, because sometimes like certain programs still fits into the societal programming. But with the conscious mind, essentially that's when your soul is operating a certain way and it's trying to feed you certain information, and you are, whether you you randomly start singing a certain song, or you do certain things habitual and you don't even realize that you're doing it, or you start to have certain cravings for certain things, or certain actions and certain people that you talk to, or whatever the case may be, is your conscious mind trying to get you to pay attention to how you are doing certain things in your everyday life, you know, and why. It's trying to get you to pay attention to the what and why and where's, you know. And then the societal mind, aka the unconscious mind, is essentially the left brain that most people are operating in, the programmed brain, where people go to school and all this information that we learn from different places is being put in there, you know. And that kind of, again, goes hand in hand with the trauma as well. But the societal mind is a little different, because these are the things that society wants you to believe are true, so that you can keep doing certain things in very repetitively or in repetition, so that you are not really thinking for self, but your thoughts are essentially on autopilot, you know. Or what's another analogy I can use? It's like you are in computer mode. Quite literally, when you're in computer mode, therefore the computer is operating you and you are not operating the system. Boom, bow, bang. So you have your left brain and your right brain, you know, and left, right, I don't know how the camera picking it up. Either way go, I said what I said. Left brain, right brain. You have both of those, but most people are only operating in the left brain or the left hemisphere, because that's the program mind. If you're right-handed, sorry, bud, you're operating in the left brain. If you're left-handed, you are operating more in the right brain, and you are more able to go back and forth between both hemispheres a little bit more easier. So you're having to learn the balance between your intuitive mind and your programmed brain, whatever. So back to the self-programming. Self-programming, again, is like the defense mechanisms that we create, and the way that we choose to allow ourselves to move and operate and do certain things, and how we choose to react and stuff like that, because we have programmed ourselves a certain way to react and to respond to certain things that make sense to our triggers, or make sense to the trauma essentially that we suppress, right? Boom. So when you are programming yourself, or when you have self-programmed yourself, this is when the manifestation really starts to kick in. This is when the manifestation really starts to enhance itself, and most people are doing certain things very blindly or unaware that they're doing or causing their realities to be shaped how it is, right? So because everybody has different stories and different experiences and different people that we've come across, it's going to make us think a certain way. It's going to create our imagination, you know, to perceive the outside reality a certain way, depending on the things that we have experienced and the certain things that we have, you know, repressed into our mind. And so when you are doing self-programming, the distraction, sorry, stuff like that. Anyways, back to the point. I'm back. When you are doing self-programming, typically there are words that we are, programming into our mind to, believe certain things or to operate certain way. We're having an internal monologue that's causing us to, say things in our minds, which will then say things out loud, which will then accidentally, on purpose, manifest certain things into our realities. Boom. Manifestation happens so easy. Every time you open your mouth and you go to talk and you get to chit-chatting and you get to whatever, and you're blindly just talking and you're not allowing yourself to be aware what you're speaking, you are unknowingly manifesting certain things to be created in your reality, whether that's to draw in certain people, whether that's to create certain experiences for yourself, whether that's manifesting a certain spirit to be in, whether that's a happy mood, a positive mood, or whatever mood. You're creating everything that you're experiencing after whatever your traumas are and how you allow yourself to believe and perceive certain things. Those are an outward projection of things that you have manifested in your brain, which are allowing you to manifest it into the physical as well. Because when you allow yourself to speak certain things into existence, like they say, some things happen very fast, some things happen very subtle, where you don't even realize that you're doing it, and or certain things happen so that you're able to essentially see what it is that you're doing, right? Essentially, once you have a certain level of, programmed thoughts and ideas and words in your mind, that becomes a system you use to conjure up and use your own magic for you or against you in this reality. You're using magic every single day. You are the fucking wand. Right? You are the intention that's needed. So when you're happy, angry, sad, or whatever, and you are casting something and you're deliberately trying to make something feel a certain way, or you're trying to bring whatever it is into your reality, you have to know you are using your own magic. You don't need no damn candles. You don't need no damn herbs and all the other stuff that, people use in rituals. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because magic is very much so true, but you are the first tool that's needed in order to create any fucking spell. Because if you don't have the heart or the mind to mind literally, or put in certain intentions, or if you don't have the mind and heart at all in whatever, then essentially you are, you're blindly you are blindly using your intent. Right? Because your mind and your heart is essentially how you put the thought and the life into whatever it is that you're trying to call into your reality. So if you're doing these things unknowingly, what does that mean that you're doing? You're unknowingly bringing certain things into your reality that's making you uncomfortable, or that's making you feel whatever, because you are allowing yourself to believe whatever it is that you're saying to be true. Because whenever you say some things are true, therefore your reality has no choice but to show you why it's true, because you said it was true. You be-lifed it because you believed it. Simple. So anything is possible to be true as long as you believe it, because if you believe it, again, you be-life it. That's it. If you say fairies are real, everything in your reality is going to show you why fairies are real. You're going to get certain things or certain whatever. This is how they're able to use religion as a form of spell work, essentially, because when the energy is being conjured up of that divinity, or that divine energy is being felt, because essentially it's really a feeling that everybody is going off, but because they need some type of perception to make sense to the perspective, they're able to create some type of illusion or some type of image so that people are more comfortable with believing whatever it is that they're feeling, because they're not comfortable with the feeling. So they have to place a label and a title and an image on it so that it's more believable. Does that make sense? Okay. So with that being said, however you choose to program your mind to protect your heart may be self-sabotaging in certain instances, or it can become pessimistic, because again, your mind is trying to protect your heart from getting hurt, because we experience whatever our traumas were. So you're going to do certain things that's going to protect your heart, which will then again manifest why you are experiencing what it is that you're experiencing, because you told yourself certain things were true, or you believe certain things to be this way. So life is going to keep telling you why it is true, because you believe that. For instance, if you always want to say itches ain't ish, and Iggas ain't ish. You're gonna keep being shown why that is true by attracting certain people that match the standards to what you believe is true about these things or these people, and you're gonna keep saying that it's true because you keep allowing yourself to operate in a frequency and a mindset that makes sense to the perceptions you are seeing and attracting into your reality. So everything that you're seeing around you is true because it's you. Not only is it you, but it's also a reflection of the projection that you are allowing yourself to see outwardly. Are you staying up here with me? Are you up here with me? Because you got to be in the crown to be able to understand what I'm saying. We can't be understanding right now. Do not stand under me. I need you to feel me here and get me here. Okay? Okay. So like I said before, manifestation happens all day long. All day long. Every time you are feeling, you are thinking. And when you are thinking, you are taking action and or no action and or making decisions or no decisions at all. But regardless on what you choose to do or not do, is going to be a product of a creation that you are creating. You have to get that. There's nobody to blame essentially after certain triggers are, done. It's all about how you allow yourself to alchemize with the energy. Your pain is purpose. You have to turn that pain into purpose. And I know it's easier said than done because some people really have some effed up stories. I know it's easier said than done, but the thing is, it can be done. You have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to just do it, like fucking Nike. But the more you allow yourself to sit in certain energies, you are then allowing yourself to create from that same energy that you are allowing yourself to circulate over and over and over, emotionally, mentally, which will then make sense to what your spirit is at the moment, because if you're not allowing yourself to really depress essentially your suppression, that suppression becomes the energy you're allowing yourself to create from. So if you always sad, guess what you're creating from? Guess where you are creating from? You're essentially creating from the energy of sadness. And with the energy of sadness, you're typically either creating nothing or certain trauma bonds or certain relationships that's not the best, that's going to keep you in that same energy of sadness until you realize that the only reason why you are seeing and feeling what it is that you're feeling or attracting what it is that you are attracting is because the energy you're allowing yourself to vibe at. And not only that, when life is trying to get you to pay attention to what it is that you're doing, it's going to continuously trigger you over and over and over and over and over until you realize how you are playing a role in the things that are triggering you. The only reason why life is triggering you is so that you are able to pay attention to what it is that you are doing so that you have the ability to alter it. But if you're not going to allow yourself to take accountability for the energy that you're allowing yourself to be in, you will continually experience certain experiences that are going to make sense to what it is that you're vibing at or what it is that you are allowing yourself to be, the element you are allowing yourself to be in. So, yeah. Magic happening all day long. You singing songs, and you got these dumbass songs that you're repeating. Not only are you repeating them, but these lyrics are triggering certain memories, which is therefore bringing you back to the past. That's going to be another video where we talk about how time travel happens all day long as well. But anyways, magic is real and we use it every day. Every day, all day long. Like I said before, you are the wand. You are the one to what it is and how it is that you're creating your reality and what you're allowing yourself to see and experience. If you do nothing, guess what? You create nothing. If you do something, guess what? You create something. Regardless of what it is that you're doing or not doing, something is still being created. Every single day, all day long. True. True shit. So with that being said, for me, I had to learn how to, me being a creative, I had to learn how to get out of here and get more into here and balance here and here so that I'm able to actually manifest things properly. So that I'm able to actually bring certain things into fruition instead of allowing certain things to pass me by, or I'm not taking action on certain things because I'm thinking too much of how it needs to be and yada, 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 and I'm doing nothing. Excuse me, I'm not allowing myself to use the magic that I have because I wasn't allowing myself to really tap in or do the work that was necessary because I'm thinking too much. There's nothing wrong with thinking. But the problem is when you allow yourself to get lost into the thought and you're taking no action or making no decisions at all, is when you're causing stagnancy. And therefore, again, you're still creating magic because you're allowing yourself to be crippled. So therefore, you're putting yourself under certain spells when you're allowing yourself to think negatively about certain things. And not all spells are bad, because you can put yourself in a good spell or love spell or whatever spell you want to do. Everything is spelling. As long as you're using words and you're talking. What did they teach you in school? How to rewrite a spell, right? Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, you know. So therefore, every time you open up this motherfucking flapper of yours and your words are, conjuring out, you have to know that the energy is going to be felt, whether you are aware of it or not. So this is why you have to take control of your power, your energy, know who you are, reevaluate your mind so that you're able to really pay attention to what it is that you're allowing yourself to circulate into your internal hard drive, so that you are aware of how you are bringing certain things into your reality. Because again, what you think, no, pause, rewind. What you feel is how you think, and what you think is how you project and create your reality. So whenever you're using your feelings, you have to know your feelings are essentially a part of the superpower. That's the part of the spell word. If you don't have the emotion, you don't really have the intention. So when your emotions are in line with the thought, therefore you have the intention. And again, not all intentions are good and not all intentions are bad. That's why you have to be aware of the energy or the emotion you're allowing yourself to be in, because that's how you, again, are conjuring things up. Because if your energy ain't right, you think your thoughts gonna be right? No. Okay. But anyway, that was the end of the segment. I hope that made sense for you. I'm very sure that it did. And if you enjoyed this video, please share with somebody that will enjoy this information. Make sure you like this and make sure you subscribe and click that bell, the ring-a-ling-a-ling, ding ding dong, and get that so that you're able to get the notification for when I post another video like this one. And it probably won't be like this one. It might be a little bit better. But yeah, so make sure you stay with me if you enjoy Crown Talk TV, because I really be talking. I be talking that talk. You just got to be willing to listen and feel me. You got to feel what I'm saying. Understand and understand what I'm saying, okay? All right? Yeah, stay safe out there. Stay safe. I ain't say be safe. Stay safe, because you are that. And again, before we leave, again, when people be like, be, fuck it, be. You stay whatever it is that you are. You don't have to be something if you are that. When people do them, I am this and I am that. No. I be that and I walk that because I am that. And I speak this because I am love. You got to speak certain things properly and not just saying I am. Okay, what's after I am? I feel, I love, I know, I see, I think. Allowing yourself to use all of the elements and not just the root of I am. But okay, I'm out.